The NTSB has released the preliminary report on the medevac Learjet crash in Philadelphia. Let's get into what they are telling us on this episode of Taking Off. Hi, I'm Dan Milliken, and we're in the middle of setup for our aviation show in the hangar, but I want to get this info out to you as quick as possible. The NTSB has just released the prelim report on the tragic medevac Learjet crash. And before we jump into the report, here's a brief overview of what occurred. On January 31st, 2025 at 6:07 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, a tragic accident occurred involving a Learjet 55 air ambulance aircraft operated by Jet Rescue Air Ambulance. The registration, X-Ray Alpha, Uniform Charlie India, with call sign Medjets Flight 056. Shortly after departing from Northeast Philadelphia Airport, the aircraft climbed to approximately 1,650 feet before plummeting to the ground near Roosevelt Mall in Philadelphia within a minute of takeoff. The jet was transporting a young girl who had received life-saving treatment in the United States and were taking her back to Tijuana, Mexico, via a fuel stop in Branson, Missouri, accompanied by her mother. There were a total of 6 occupants, and tragically, there were no survivors among those on the aircraft. Here's the ATC audio when the aircraft was getting ready for takeoff.
Medevac, Med Service 056, on departure, turn right heading 290, runway 24, clear for takeoff, wind 25010. Medevac, Med Service 056, affirmative. On departure, turn right heading 290, runway 24, clear for takeoff. Medevac, Med Service 056, contact Philly departure 123.8.
123.8, Mike Tango Sierra 056 Medevac. Thank you, good day.
Medevac, Med Service 056, Northeast Tower, contact Philly 123.8. Medevac, Med Service, Northeast Tower. Medevac, Med Service 056, Northeast Tower, you on frequency?
In the report, the NTSB covers the particulars. There were 2 pilots, 2 medical crew members, 2 passengers on the jet, and there was 1 person on the ground who were all fatally injured. 4 people were seriously injured, and 20 others received minor injuries. The preliminary ADSB data indicates the plane took off from runway 24 at the airport, and as we mentioned, they were heading to Branson, Missouri for a fueling stop before continuing on to Tijuana, Mexico. In the 1-minute flight, the NTSB reports that the aircraft turned slightly to the right and then entered a gradual left turn, reaching that altitude of 1,600 feet, mean sea level, MSL. The airport was at 119 feet. The last track data was at 1,275 feet, with the aircraft doing 242 knots over the ground. The flight crew had been in communication with ATC, but no distress calls were received. The report goes on to describe the impact, initially hitting a commercial sign before impacting a concrete sidewalk in a residential and a commercial area where security cameras depicted a large explosion. The wreckage field was 1,410 feet in length and 840 feet wide on a heading of 150. The wreckage was highly fragmented, and debris penetrated numerous homes and businesses and cars, resulting in extensive fire damage. The Learjet was equipped with a cockpit voice recorder, or CVR, and it was found 8 feet under soil and debris. The NTSB worked really hard to get the contents off of the CVR, only to find after extensive repair and damage that there was nothing there. The NTSB reported the CVR had significant impact-related damage, as one might expect from an accident like this, and they also found liquid had made its way inside the CVR. And the NTSB did all of this work only to find the CVR had likely not been working for the past couple of years. And it's unclear that the audio recovered would have even given any hints as to what happened. The airplane also had an enhanced ground proximity warning system, or EGPWS, and this computer might have recorded some flight data information. The NTSB reports that it plans to send the EGPWS computer to the manufacturer's facility for evaluation and to determine whether any relevant flight data can be recovered. The NTSB is working on it, and we'll see if anything can be found from all that data. At the time of the accident, the weather was reported to be IMC. That means it's all cloudy clouds with an overcast of 400 feet. So as soon as they were 400 feet up, they were in the clouds and couldn't see. The temperature was 9 degrees Celsius, and the dew point was also 9 degrees Celsius, which means clouds. Winds were reported to be 9 knots from 220 degrees and visibility at 6 miles. Humidity was extremely high. It was, of course, night as well. The pilot in command held an airline transport pilot certificate with ratings for airplane, multi-engine land, and instrument airplane. He also held a medical certificate issued by Mexico's Agencia Federal de Aviación Civil. The operator reported the pilot had accumulated 9,200 total hours. The second-in-command pilot held a commercial pilot certificate with single-engine land, multi-engine land, and instrument privileges. He also held the same medical certificate with Mexico and had accumulated 2,600 total hours. Both the pilot and the co-pilot held a type rating in the Learjet 55. The pilot's time indicates that they had a lot of experience. And as the investigation moves forward, they'll be looking at the pilots, the aircraft, the maintenance, the weather. They'll be looking to see if all the instruments were operating correctly, to see if there was any spatial disorientation in play. And that's all the info that the NTSB has given us on this Learjet crash in Philadelphia. I was hoping for more info, but this is only the prelim. They're working on the investigation, which will probably take about a year. But there's no real smoking gun in this report like there was in the Scottsdale prelim report last week of a Learjet. Some had wondered about icing on this Philadelphia crash, but this wasn't icing. It was too warm, too quick. Next up, we're hoping to hear from the NTSB on the PSA Black Hawk mid-air collision at the Reagan National Airport in January. As soon as we hear about that one, we'll post. Thanks for watching, and thanks to our sponsors. In the links below, please check them out, like Z-Vision, xevision.com, the brightest landing and taxi lights out there. Their only competition is the sun. And 67 Designs for holding your phones, your cameras in your car, your boat, or your plane, 67d.com. Check out our other report right here, and stay safe. Remember, superior judgment trumps superior skill. Take care.